have got our second very special guest waiting in the wing. Hopefully she hasn't been waiting too long. Our second guest is out there, I hope. There she is, right at the top, Dawn. Right at the top. There we are. Yeah, right at the top. And this next guest, very special guest, she's sold since 1996 105 million records. Not bad at all. She's definitely the best. There, well, look, I was going to do a lovely intro for you, Melanie.
Oh, sorry, I'm premature. You can do it with me here.
You don't need any kind of introduction. I'm sorry if you've been waiting. Ross likes to chat.
He does like a chat, but it's right up my street. I love all that, so I've learned lots of things. It was very interesting.
Well, you've used to do triathlons, so maybe you still do. Is that right?
My last triathlon. Oh gosh, I don't even know what day it is right now. But I haven't done one for a couple of years. But I intend to do more. Yeah, I love it.
How has this period been for you, Melanie? And you've got some very exciting. You've got new music out. Is that today or is it tomorrow? I don't want to get that wrong.
It came out yesterday.
Yesterday, there we go. Even better.
Yeah, that's made it a very busy time actually because I had a single out in March. And everything was all ready to go when lockdown occurred. So, it was odd. I had to kind of think of new and creative ways to promote the music and, you know, make sure it was heard because obviously there's much bigger things going on in the world. But I don't want this music to not get an opportunity to be heard because I'm so excited about it.
Well, I think it sounds fantastic, I have to say. And I would say that with you there, but we were saying it amongst ourselves in our family unit today anyway. My girls love it, obviously. I love it. And it sounds, I mean, I think, you know, it's a bit like Dua Lipa had a record also scheduled for the beginning of this whole lockdown. Mm-hmm. And I know she was very worried about putting new music out because understandably she thought, is this a time that, you know, that I guess entertainers should be, you know, putting out their work in some respects because of course it's such a difficult time, but you know what, I think Dua's did very well, and I think yours, I think we all need this sort of thing, right? I think it's a good thing.
You know what, that's exactly how I felt because it was like, it feels weird to promote something, you know, because obviously our concerns lie elsewhere, but also, you know, it's lovely. I'm so lucky. I have a great fan base internationally, you know, thanks to my time with the Spice Girls and many years as solo artist, that they were waiting for it, and it's been quite nice for them to have something new, and it's kind of made me really appreciate social media, you know, doing things like this, staying connected with people even though we're all in isolation. It's something we're all experiencing together, which kind of weirdly makes you feel a little bit more connected to people, you know, and I've felt this kind of support from a distance, which has been really nice.
Well, I think viewers especially, and we, you know, we've had a lot of excitement about you coming on here, and we're so thrilled you are here. But, you know, there's been a lot of excitement for the people stuck at home, and you know, the artists like yourselves who have kind of had to be drawn out of from behind in some ways, behind the usual kind of routes of promotion and doing things which I guess feel a bit more real and maybe a bit more, and I guess you guys maybe aren't quite used to doing that so much, but I think the viewers have loved it because they get to see you and they get to see inside your homes and they get to see, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, you know, it was weird at first because I'm quite a private person. You know, I've never really felt comfortable kind of showing my private life or my home, but I think once I kind of had no choice and then I did it, it felt nice because, like you say, people have enjoyed that. It's kind of a side to artists that you don't often see. And I think doing the Q&As, I was kind of doing these weekly Q&As with the fans, and it was nice because I think I was just trying to be really genuine. You know, and some days are hard. You know, we've all been on this emotional journey, which lockdown has, you know, brought us all. So, you know, some days I'd just be really honest and say I feel a bit rubbish today, and I didn't even really want to do this. But actually, by doing it, I feel better. It, you know, a lot of people, I get great messages, and if they feel better, it's just this kind of, you know, nice little thing that we're helping each other.
Yeah. How has the reaction been to your new song? And tell me, how's it felt putting that record out there? Because, you know, in some way, I've heard that more than ever, you feel that like you're really the artist that I guess you've been trying to develop since, I guess, well, since 20 years since you've started your solo career, pretty much, right? This
Yeah.
has felt really, as you said, a good word is genuine.
Yeah, do you know, I think every stage of my career, I've always tried to be very honest. You know, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I've experimented with different genres. You know, always will be a pop artist. But I think being on stage with the Spice Girls last year, we did our stadium tour, which was incredible. It just gave me an opportunity to really reflect. And I spent a lot of time leading up to those shows thinking, oh, can I be Sporty Spice again? You know, I'm cracking on a bit. And then once I got on that stage, I was like, do you know what? I don't become Sporty Spice. I am her. You know, it's in me and it's not going anywhere. And it just made me start thinking about, you know, all these different times in my life and my personal life and my career. And I just thought, you know, something I don't think we do enough. It's really embrace all these sides of ourselves, because nobody is one dimensional. You know, we are so many different people, and I think lockdown has shown that to us. You know, we're now teachers as well as cleaners and cooks, and you know, trying to hold down the work scenario. So yeah, so that was a big inspiration behind this album, like true acceptance, and you know, and I think that's really liberating, because it's just like, you know, just take me as you find me, and if you don't like it, then you know, you're never trying to please anybody. You're just trying to, you know, do stuff which you feel is great.
Yeah. Was there a stage, I guess, and, you know, shortly after, I guess, you know, the Spice Girls came to an end, where you're kind of trying to run away from that legacy a bit, in some ways?
I think it was really natural for me to do that.
Yeah.
I had an incredible time with the girls, but, you know, we were a collective. We were expressing things as a group of people, and it was, I mean, it's complicated, you know. It was an amazing time, but there was also challenges within it. So once I had that freedom and I was able to express myself as an individual and not have to kind of fight for airtime, I suppose, even if you think about the girls, there's some really big personalities there, you know, and I'm probably one of the quieter members of the band, but I still like to have a chat, you know. So to be the person, you know, fronting the band and doing all the talking, it was, you know, it was new to me. And I suppose I was quite keen, you know, I was young, I was only about 25 at that point, and I wanted to be seen as an individual. And I think the only way I thought I could do that was by distancing myself. So I think I became a little bit rebellious. You know, I cut all my hair short, and, you know, the first song I released as a solo artist was a bit rocky, and I just wanted to be as different from what people had seen before.
I was reading some cuts, going through some old cuts that you've done, you know, so many of, and I was wondering, you know, talking about that idea of big personalities, and actually I had to remind myself again that it was actually in some ways it was a journalist. Was it? I don't know if it was Smash Hits, but it was a journalist who kind of came up with those nicknames for the Spice Girls initially. That's right, isn't it? And
yeah, do you know what? It was Top of the Pops magazine.
That's it.
Yeah, Peter Lorraine was the editor at the time. And it was just like a really little throwaway piece, a silly little piece at the front of the magazine. And they just stuck, never went away. And in America, they didn't even know our names. They only knew us by our nicknames. And it was, you know, it was a beautiful piece of marketing as well, kind of accidental.
Yeah.
And we became caricatures of those nicknames, you know.
That's exactly right. And wow, did it take? I mean, did it take off? I mean, incredible. And I guess there's no regrets in that sense, but in a sense, the idea that you were kind of, you know, labelled with just one personality trait, in a sense, was that in any way, I guess, because frustrating?
I don't know if it was. I think we all really love our names, you know, and I think because it gave us, you know, it really kind of cemented that individuality aspect of the band as well, which I think was a great selling point for us, that we just, we just really embraced them. And I've never had, you know, any regrets about being sporty. I've never wanted to be anybody else or have a different and, you know, I'm weirdly sportier than ever. So yeah, it's fitting.
I read also, I had to remind myself also that actually the Spice Girls as a five-person group, it was only 22 months. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, the legacy is now you know.
I know. We originally got together in 1994,
Yeah.
and we didn't release anything. Wannabe was released in the summer of 1996, but Jerry had left by the time we were on tour in 1998.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was literally in the public eye. It was so short-lived. We released 2 albums and the movie. So it was just chaos.
What do you remember most of that time? I know, you've been asked this so many times, Melanie, and I apologise, but it's still so fascinating. I don't know, it is still such a fascinating moment in pop history and in our British culture, and to get your recollection of what that felt like to be in the centre of that cultural swirl. Maybe you just don't remember very much because it was just such a blitz.
I don't remember everything. A lot of it is a blur. But it's nice when we get together because we all tend to remember different bits, so we kind of piece it together. But I do remember it just being incredible, as a kid growing up, wanting to perform, wanting to be a pop star, and then achieving it, and then being the biggest band in the world for a very short period in time. And then I think the most amazing thing about the Spice Girls, again, which we really, really became aware of last year on stage, was the impact it had on a generation.
Yeah.
We were playing the stadiums, we were playing to 60, 70, 80,000 people, and the energy was insane. And it was predominantly women. And, there was a few generations there, but it was women of a certain age. And they're all grown up now, these Spice Girls fans, and they know how to have a good time. So it was phenomenal to just kind of see that there was so much love out there, and how much it had impacted them all.
Well, you say a certain age, but my girlfriend went, who is a lot younger than me.
I love you.
She's side stage. She's like, please don't say that. She's taking it. And also my 2 girls went, and they are 10. No, they're 8 and 4, so they adored it.
Wow.
So there's a whole new generation coming your way, Melanie.
Yeah, that was the age of our fans, predominantly. We had such young fans, like back in the 90s. So they were kind of, between 4 and 10 years old. And it's wonderful to see. There was lots of younger children at the gigs. And then there was mums and a few grannies in there as well, It was brilliant.
You've also got the likes of Billie Eilish now name-checking you, Melanie. How does that feel? That's not bad, right?
Well, do you know what? I'm such a big fan of hers, and I've been a fan of her and her music and her brother for a few years, discovered them and loved them, and then had the opportunity to meet her and just found out that the whole family were big Spice Girls fans. And it was so lovely. And I saw her at Shepherd's Bush Empire. She'd already outgrown that venue. It's only about 2,000 capacity. And she's a big star, isn't she?
Yeah, huge.
And
huge.
The audience were incredible. Again, it was predominantly females, like teenage girls. And they were screaming for her, singing every word, every ad-lib. And I just felt this weird, I thought it felt really recognizable, because I think traditionally we're so used to young girls screaming at boys, whether it's, boy bands or male artists. To see them screaming for a girl, it was like, wow. And when I met her backstage, there's just, feels like a little bit of a connection, and she's just really responded to me with all of my, old timer advice, which is really lovely. So I'm very excited for new music from her. I'm itching to hear what she's going to do next.
She's brilliant, and actually, I was lucky enough to spend some time with her at the beginning of this year, also, and just as you say, just to it was so savvy and smart and this sounds like I'm being patronising, but I'm really not, for how young she is. So switched on and it knows exactly where she wants to put herself, what her image, what she should present herself to be like, from her videos to her songs to her styling. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. She's really wise beyond her years. And and it's really nice to see. And I think, in this crazy world that we inhabit right now, to have a young female role model like her is really refreshing, because there are so many that are quite different.
Absolutely. Listen, you're not going to go yet, because I'm going to do a giant spinning wheel of random questions with you. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can get this going. You can go very soon, but just a couple of these, because why not? It's fun. Let me see if we can get it. Okay, here we go. Some of the pull from old smash hits, so we'll see how we go. Oh, your first crush, Melanie.
Oh, do you know what? I think it was Adamant.
Nice.
That's showing
Nice.
my age, isn't it?
No, I think that was mine as well.
Yeah, back in the 80s. First poster on my wall.
Hey, good one. It's a good one. I'll have another. Love it, Adamant. Why not? Yeah, I think didn't he have a comeback about 5 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, I think he's always out there playing, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. Which this one? Oh, there we go. The worst row you ever had with your parents.
Ooh, do you know what? I'm not confrontational, really.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, I mean, even when I was a teenager, because like my little girl's 11 and she's quite tricky, but she's always been like that. And I remember I said to my mum once, well, I suppose it's just my turn, isn't it? And my mum said, you were always a good girl. I'm like, well, that's not fair.
Fantastic. All right, let's do one more. Why not? Our girls are pretty good so far, I think. Although they're 8, so they're creeping up that way.
Yeah, just wait for those hormones to kick in.
I know. Oh, look! Oh, so we have to do it again. Let's get another one. You know what I wanted to... This is a random question. Who do you think will be the next James Bond? There we go. That's a random GQ question.
Oh my gosh, I have absolutely no idea. Who's in the running?
I don't know. There's endless lists, aren't there? It's, you
at
know...
At one point, were they talking about Idris? I think he'd be...
They were. I think he'd be brilliant. I think he'd be great. But I guess now they have to... The film's gone back and it's still Daniel, and we'll see what happens, won't we?
Yeah.
Listen, Melanie, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you, to have such an icon on the show. It's been amazing.
My pleasure.
So thank you so much for taking the time, and the whole, well, my family and also the Geeky family send all our love. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and mine to you guys as well.
Right.
Hopefully I'll
Thanks
see you
so
in person at some point.
Absolutely. All right.
Take care. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Amazing. What a fantastic, lovely human being.